All right, everybody, I want to introduce the king of sales himself, Jeffrey Gitomer. How you doing, Jeffrey?
I'm doing fine, Chris. How are you?
I am doing wonderful. I mean, I'm living the dream, getting to podcast, talk with interesting people.
You know, um, I'm 78 years old, even though I don't look it. And many of my compatriots are either finished or old world.
Yeah,
And I've decided that, for 20 years, I've monikered myself as the king of sales. If you Google king of sales, I actually pop up on the first few pages. And I decided once podcasting came along, I was going to play.
yeah.
And so I created Sell or Die. It's got more than 3 million downloads. I get requests to be a guest on the show all the time. And then AI came into sight or into vision. And I said, well, man, if I'm not playing in this field, I'm never going to be the king of sales ever.
That's true. That it
Someone
is
else will take
game
the
changing.
title. Yeah.
Yeah,
So with Gitomer AI, and if you're just casually listening, I would recommend just going there, just take a look at it.
yeah.
I've decided that I'm going to play in AI and never stop. I mean, it's not just the next thing; it's the thing and the next thing.
It's the only thing. It really is
Yeah.
in every industry.
Um, Someone asked me the other day, "Will AI replace me as a salesperson?" And I said, "Here's the deal: salespeople who use AI will replace salespeople who don't use AI."
I know.
And I think that's the process. And people think of AI as an answer. I think of it as a tool.
Hmm.
And that tool can give you answers and can give you insights and can give you information and literally an education if you look at it the right way. But it's also instant.
Yeah. And let me ask you this, because I just published a LinkedIn newsletter this morning about that subject, that consultants and salespeople who don't get on this train are going to get left behind.
Yeah,
But one of the takeaways is that people are going to start getting paid for results, not hours. What are your thoughts there?
totally. Um, it's been that way in the sales community for a long, long time. They're paid commission.
Yeah,
And they not just commission, but they eat what they kill. And as a salesperson, that's the best. If you're good at sales and you're not commission only, you only think you're good at sales.
right.
And because I don't want a limited income, I want to make more than the CEO if I'm a sales guy.
And you should.
Yeah, totally, totally. And now with AI, where you can get answers faster,
Yeah,
where you can get information faster, and I have an AI platform. It's about selling skills and personal development skills, but it's clearly not the only way you can use AI. It's just one of the ways. However, in the heat of the battle, it's the way.
yeah,
All the research stuff that you can do, all the annotate of your writings or getting your grammar right, that's mechanical. I'm looking at this from a standpoint of this is emotional.
hmm,
And if I can get to that emotional state with that customer, I have a real good shot at making that sale or completing that sale. And if I don't, I'm going to be sending a proposal and waiting for a callback.
yeah, exactly. And again, then it's a matter of your proposal versus their proposal. But if you touch them in an emotional way, it doesn't matter if your proposal isn't as good, although it will be, but it
Yeah.
won't matter.
So I'm convinced that AI is going to be adopted in the year 2025. It's going to be adopted way more by
Yeah,
everybody, even if it's half-assed. They're going to adopt something because they feel like they have to be in the game. And then the question is, okay, how well will it perform? How much do you have to learn? What's the learning curve that you have to deal with? And for the most part, it's more than a salesperson wants to deal with.
right.
They don't, I think the day of the prompt is coming to an end as well. I don't want a prompt. I want an answer.
Right, right.
And AI is going to be thinking for me. AI is going to be doing things for me that I can't imagine. My own AI is starting to think now.
Yeah. And that's kind of the whole trend is toward AI agents. And an agent is
Yeah.
an AI that literally takes a task and runs with it.
Um, the agent thing is a very important thing. I'm dealing with a company right now that wants to use me as an agent. They have like five other things, but they don't have the real sales answers.
Right.
And so I've now become like a spoke in the wheel.
Yeah.
It's pretty interesting.
Yeah. No, like you said, it's game changing for sure.
It's game changing, but it's also evolving. A friend of mine had to do two AI presentations for a big company.
Hmm.
In the 2 weeks between one presentation and the other, he had to completely change his presentation.
Yeah.
Complete.
I was gonna say I do presentations all the time on AI, and you're right. I have to change those slides almost weekly.
It's unbelievable.
Yeah.
And the challenge that you have with something like that is literally you have no choice. It's universal. And and you have to put yourself in a position where you're able to create that process immediately.
Yeah.
Someone else is going to be doing it immediately as well.
Yeah, and let me say, not to discourage people from getting involved, thinking, "Oh yeah, well I'm already behind." We live in a bubble of people who are into it right now. The majority has no flipping clue what's going on,
Yeah.
so the opportunity is still huge.
The geeky guys are deep into it.
Right.
I mean, they're deep into it. And they're looking at new sites every day. Anything .ai, they're on top of it in 2 seconds and they can figure it out and they can tell you about it.
Right.
Meanwhile, the sales guys drinking a beer and watching Netflix.
Exactly.
And those days are gone. You're going to have to go back to work.
Right. And then you've got us in the middle who can translate geeky into
Yeah,
real world. And
yeah,
that's what the Gitomer AI is all about.
I agree. That the one thing that I want you to know, if you're listening to this casually, I invested a lot of money in this.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot, because it's my body of work. It's my life's work in sales, and I didn't want to do it in an open source, so I had to pay for proprietary, which is expensive.
Mhm.
But I don't want my stuff in OpenAI or ChatGPT or Claude or Copilot or any of that kind of crap, because the minute your stuff is ingested, you lose it.
Yep.
They're not going to acknowledge you. They're not going to say, "Oh yeah, Jeffrey Gitomer said that." They don't care about that at all. And for me, it's like, okay, that's the kiss of death.
Yeah.
Um, I'm not going to tolerate that. I'm not going to put up with that. I'm going to deal with this in a way where I win. It's my stuff. It's
Yeah.
literally, if you're a writer or you're a speaker and you don't have some kind of a proprietary site, you're an idiot.
Yeah.
You know,
I agree.
you exchange money for privacy, but you keep your body of work. And I just don't understand how people didn't see that. And I'll tell you honestly, I went down that path when I very first started, the path of open, because I
Mhm.
didn't even know there was proprietary.
Right.
Now that I know, oh my God. And I'm putting that word out to all my speaker friends, all my writing friends, and literally all my publishers, so they don't lose their stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. That can't be overstated enough. I was giving a talk last week, and just as an aside, I said to the AI, I said, "Tell me everything you know about me." And it went on, and it told me stuff that I didn't realize I
Right.
had shared with it. And you're right. And now anybody else can go to it and find that information too.
Yeah. So it's not always the open source is not always accurate. In fact, they tell you in their limitations statement that it will not be accurate.
Right.
I guarantee that my site is accurate because it's me.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
mean,
That's the source. Yeah.
uh, that's going to be a game changer, a big time game changer. And I don't want to be political, but I'm just going to say there are things right now, one side and the other, that are going to be factual and non-factual, and you're
Right.
going to have to deal right now with facts more than ever, more than ever.
I
And
agree.
things are going to be exposed over the course of the next year or so that are going to really enrage some people and celebrate some people. And AI is not going to be any different. You have the opportunity to store away your life's work in a way
Mhm.
that where it's preserved. What does that cost? And the answer is it doesn't matter.
Right, right. Yeah, what is the value is the bigger question.
Right.
Yeah.
And so, I was willing to invest right away because I saw the future. I said, oh, I can either have my stuff or not have my stuff. Whoa, whoa.
Yeah.
And then I packaged it to where you can subscribe to it. So I'll be comfortable with the subscriber base. But the bottom line is I keep my stuff. I'm looking at AI, Chris, in a way where I've never looked at anything before.
Hmm.
We're in an era where this is the beginning of the automobile, the beginning of the television, the beginning of the telephone. It's a whole new frontier.
Yeah.
And right now it's Wild West.
Oh, it is. And a lot of people are dipping their toe in, but it is time to dive. It is
Well,
time to dive.
I'm going to make a statement and you can tell me I'm full of shit or not, but there's a lot of people that claim to know how to work this process.
Yep.
Let's call them would-be gurus. And I'll talk to some of them and I'll say, well, do you have your own platform? And they say, what do you mean? I said, well, how can you tell me what to do when you have a platform? Well, I use Claude. No, that's their platform.
That's their platform.
If it changes in one day, your whole business model is either trashed or in need of reorientation.
Yeah, I have to agree with that 100% because, you mentioned podcasting earlier. I've been involved with podcasting since it began. Number one thing I tell people, do not get on a Buzzsprout, do not get on a Spreaker, do not get on somebody else's platform. It needs to be platformed with your site at your place so you can
Yeah.
control it. Same
Yeah.
thing with AI. You have to be able to control it.
I've been very fortunate with my podcast. I've had it for years. We've got more than 3.5 million downloads now, which is a significant number.
Mhm.
And I think it's going to play even more of a role coming up for the next decade.
Oh,
I
I,
think
I, I agree totally.
the podcast is the new media.
Yeah, and I'm proud to say I was on the podcast and we'll try to get on there again.
Yeah, please.
And have had you on mine. So
Yeah.
yeah, it is the top media right now. The highest ROAS of any media in the world right now is podcasting at a 4.9x. So it's huge.
And getting this is pretty interesting and getting more powerful by the day.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
This last presidential election brought into light the power of alternative media.
Yep. Yep.
And if a guy like Joe Rogan is more powerful than ABC with a
Yeah.
listening audience, you got to pay attention.
Yeah, yeah. What was it? 35 million downloads within the first day or something? It was
Yeah.
insane. And MSNBC is lucky if they get 100,000 people watching their stuff.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
So they and they don't realize that the people from MSNBC, as an example, don't even realize that they need to add podcasts to their process
Right.
rather than just have their 9 to 10 show.
Well, and one of the other reasons why podcasting works so well and why it's so accepted is it's not Madison Avenue slick. It's not just repackaging the same content. It's
Yeah.
like you and I having a real conversation. You coughed and we left that in, right?
It's also available 24/7.
Yeah, and it's time shifted. I can listen while I'm driving, while I'm walking the dog, while I'm
Right.
feeding the chickens. I can listen to podcasts.
You can watch or listen, which is how I designed mine.
Yeah.
I think it's important for people to see you. That's if you look at Howard Stern, which is his radio show was the original podcast. He just didn't realize it at the time.
Yeah.
But he's always available, and it's video or audio.
Right.
It's all about his guests, not just about him.
Yeah, and most of the consumption is audio, even if it's just turning on the video and doing something else. But you're right, that video is nice not only to be able to refer to and turn and watch when something is happening, but also to pull clips from and promote. That's huge.
So speaking of promotion, let's go into a little of it.
Sure.
Chris and I have decided to combine our intellect, if there is such a thing, and power, if there is such a thing, and put something out having to do with both podcasting and AI. And that's going to be launching. Here's the cool part. We can launch in a day.
Yes.
But we're probably going to wait all the way till next week to launch. And today's Monday, so we have a whole week and a weekend in front of us to be able to do it. But I have a feeling this is going to launch, and I can't tell you how often it's going to occur. I think that will be sporadic, but I'd like to do at least a couple a week to where we have our toe in the marketplace, and we have listeners that can't wait for the next lesson, can't wait for the next lesson.
Yeah.
And you look at podcasting today, and you look at the people that are podcasting, you already know them.
Yeah.
You know who they're a household name, and they're just some guy in Jersey.
Yep. Yep.
You know,
Yeah,
you don't even care where they are. Well, you can tell by their attitude, but you don't care where they are.
Right. But, one of the early axiom in sales is know, like, and trust. If you have that, that's why podcasting works.
Well, there's another axiom in sales, which literally I created. And it is, in sales, it's not who you know. In sales, it's who knows you.
Who knows you, right on.
And I will guarantee you that Joe Rogan, with his 10 million downloads an episode, or 15 million downloads, he doesn't know any of those people.
No.
But they all know him.
Exactly. I love it.
So that's the challenge, and that's where we're at this moment. And Chris, I'm very grateful for your friendship. And we seem to get along pretty well, which is a little scary to me.
Yeah, we haven't had too many fights, right?
No, but we're not married either, so we're precluded from a stupid. You keep putting your underwear in the like literally. I don't care where your underwear is, just so we understand each other.
Good to know. Good to know.
But the challenge is we both have deep knowledge in AI and podcasting, just enough to be dangerous. But combined, we're going to be able to give you, the listener,
right on,
insight.
Yep.
And insight is what you need right now to take action. And that action will lead you to money. Salespeople, who will be the predominant listeners to this podcast, they just want to make a sale.
Right. Yeah.
They don't want it to be complicated. And dude, I'm going to make it as uncomplicated as possible, because I grew up selling in New York City, where fuck you was a greeting and everybody wanted a bribe. And if you can make millions of dollars worth of sales in that environment and never give a bribe, you have insight.
I love it.
And I'm going to share that with you guys. So just take it easy and play hard, but stay away from idiots. And it's hard to recognize who the idiots are, but you'll figure it out in a short space of time.
I love it. And Jeffrey, I'm excited too. I think this is going to be a really cool venture, and we're going to be able to help a lot of people do some amazing things.
I agree. All right. You take care of yourself. It's been a pleasure. Thank you for your time today. Thank you for doing this. I'm very respectful of your capabilities.
Cool. Thank you. Me too. Appreciate it.